How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. We had a rough week in the market, and what I want to do is I want to go through some of the stuff that happened this week. I want to talk about some things that you probably didn't see because the market was in flames in certain sectors, right? I mean, some of the indexes only fell a couple percent, but a lot of the high risk, high reward stocks massively fell down. I want to go through some of the news that was kind of swept to the side because people were really worried about the market. I want to talk about some good things that happened this week. I want to talk to you about some stocks that I've talked about that just got kind of large contracts and just started new partnerships and all this kind of thing. And let me know if you guys like this, because this is going to be kind of like a roundup of the week. And I've not done this in a while, but I think there's going to be a lot of good information. I'm not going to stay on anything for too long. I just want to kind of walk you through it. And if you guys like this kind of thing, if you guys want more of this in the future, again, please let me know by hitting the like button. Also, let me know in the comments down below. I really appreciate that. Beware of the scammers down there too. Sometimes if you see a weird comment about WhatsApp or about Bitcoin or Ethereum underneath your comment, it's not me. So just know that. That being said, I can't delete them fast enough. They just replace themselves. So at this point, it's on YouTube. But if you guys like this, I appreciate that. Also, there is a link down there to Patreon. I am doing a live stream later today with some of the Patreon members. So if you want to see that, you can join the Patreon. I do live streams every couple weeks for one of the tiers of Patreon, and then a lot of the time I'll just throw the other Patreon members in it a little bit later if we can do that. Now, we're going to get to it now, though. There's a lot driving the market. Mostly the reason that I saw the market falling down was this treasury yield, right? There's a spike in the 10-year treasury yield, which upset a lot of investors because the higher yields were kind of scaring the stock market. Why go put your money in the stock market when it's at high risk when there's a better return somewhere else that's pretty much guaranteed? That's what some people are thinking. Now, they're also thinking this could cause there could be some inflation, then the Fed might raise rates, which I don't think that's very likely to happen, but we'll just move on from there. There's a lot of red in the market, especially, like I said, in SPACs, caused a lot of stocks to start looking attractive again for the first time in a while if you're looking at some of the high growth sector. Now, I will say if you do want to invest in stocks, there is a link down there to WeBull. You can deposit $100, get some money back for free. They give you up to $1,850 in stocks if you deposit $100. Something that was brushed aside this week was that Square bought $170 million worth of Bitcoin. This happened on February 23, and this added to their already large stake in Bitcoin. Kind of interesting. Again, I think people just didn't see this. I mentioned in one of my videos. In addition to that, we had MicroStrategy, which on the next day, it announced that they bought more than $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, adding to their holdings. So now they hold over 90,000 Bitcoin. We also have Elon Musk, which said that Dogecoin was going to the moon that same day. And we had Coinbase announce that they want to have a direct listing because of their revenue doubling in 2020. They want to do a direct listing, not an IPO, not a SPAC or anything like that. And they had revenues of over $1 billion in 2020, more than doubling last year. Now, this is going to be interesting to see when this comes up. I think this is a company, assuming that Bitcoin comes back up a little bit, because it fell down a good amount. Bitcoin and Ethereum fell down a good amount. Assuming that they stay stable, which I think they will. I think they'll actually go up. I think that this is a company that will be an interesting one to watch because they have such growing revenues and it's such a growing market. Now, that being said, there is somewhere that you can get into cryptocurrency, and that's BlockFi. So this company is the one that I work with. I have a good amount of my money here. I really want to convert some of my money to Ethereum and Bitcoin, but I'm holding out a little bit now because most of this money is, all this money is going to our house, but they pay you 8.6% on GUSD and 6% on Bitcoin, and then 5.25 on Ethereum. So if you're interested in that, this is the last thing I want to talk about. If you're interested in that, there is a link down there. They give you up to $250 in Bitcoin, depending on what you deposit to. So definitely check that out. But just in general, we saw a dip in the crypto market too. So that is pretty interesting for me as someone that wants to get in the longer term to throw a little bit more money at it. Now, something that came up this week too that a lot of people didn't see is that PaySafe announced that they're going to start using Snowflake. So They're going to use this to deliver more informed and enhanced customer experiences by tapping into artificial intelligence and machine learning data models. The announcement supports PaySafe's transition to a fully cloud approach. A lot of people were excited about this, and a lot of people were talking about it. I saw a lot of videos on it. Now, PaySafe itself, I don't think it's moved that much recently. It's still BFT. It's still in the SPAC. It's a payment processing company if you haven't seen it. It's an interesting one. I still hold all my shares, but I'm not adding more at this point just because there are a lot of deals in the market. And one deal that I've been picking up, and I've done videos on it. I did a full dedicated video about 3 weeks ago, and then I did another video where I talked about other space stocks. That's Helicity. They just came out with some news this week that they have been selected by NASA to provide a launch service for the agency's time-resolved observation precipitation structure. So they got an $8 million contract for the Tropics mission. Now, this was just announced Friday, and it sent the stock up pretty nicely after hours. They spiked on this news, and I still hold my shares. I'm not sure if I've added recently. I don't think I added it all this week, but you can see a 14% spike. Now, some people are going to ask, well, is it time to buy? I think that depends on you, whether you like the company. I like the company, but if you've seen it and it didn't really strike your interest until now when it jumps up 14%, that's probably not a good reason to start buying it just because it went up because of one contract. Now, if you look in and think, okay, they're going to keep on getting contracts and stuff like that, I really like it. I think this is something that will get a lot more attention as they launch more and more satellites. But, you have to do your research on it. I'll put it up on the end screen. They're already working with a couple government organizations, so take a look at it. Something else that was announced was the Workhorse USPS contract. So I shouldn't say the Workhorse USPS contract because it's the USPS contract that we thought Workhorse was going to get. They didn't get it. I sold out my shares months ago, just to be clear, for a little bit of a profit there. But Oshkosh was awarded the contract, which caused a lot of people to be upset because they wanted to electrify. USPS wanted to electrify their fleets, and they came out and said that they're going to have a mix of electric vehicles and some type of high efficiency ICE vehicles. So a lot of people were upset that they went and made such a big deal about the electrification, and then they didn't actually follow through. Now, a congressman said that he wasn't going to let this happen. I don't know if that's just a soundbite or if he can actually do anything. I think there's a little bit of politics in there, obviously. But this sent Workhorse down dramatically. It caused it to drop, I believe it was over 50% within a couple hours, which was tough. It started to rebound a little bit. ARK Invest bought a significant amount. We're starting to see it level out a little bit in the mid-teens, it looks like. But I think there's still some hope that they might get this contract. It's going to be important to see the next quarter results because if they can't increase deliveries, I think more people will jump ship. Now, they only delivered 7 vehicles last quarter. Makes me worried because they were hoping to deliver a couple hundred. In addition to that, we had CCIV, which actually had good news that they announced that they're going to merge with Lucid. However, the PIPE investors were what brought this one down. So they got the PIPE to agree to $15 per share, which caused the stock price to go down dramatically. The change in valuation, and some of it was that people were selling the news, right? So a lot of people bought the rumor, sell the news. So they sold it off. It went from $60 down to 20 something, high 20s at one point. And some people are still really bullish over the long term, but they're not nearly as close to the number of deliveries as some other players like Tesla, like NIO. They have not actually got cars on the road yet. So they still have a lot going for them. They have really good technology. They have the ability and the capacity to probably produce a lot of vehicles a couple years down the road. And they have some big investments, and they have a lot of PIPE investors that are willing to pay more per share. So that's something to take into account that years down the road, this might pay off, but it might be a little bit longer of a play now than what we were thinking. Of course, it would have been nice to know to sell out at 60. Some people did, right? But also some people didn't get in early. So you can always say that you did something right, but to play it perfectly is pretty tough. You have to be right on buying it, be right on selling it, be right on it falling afterwards. So it was tough for a lot of people. I personally sold out when this news came out. I shouldn't say I sold out. I sold my cost basis, which was 30% of my overall investment in them. And the rest of this is just house money. It's just money that I had earned from it going up so much in value because I bought in under 13. Now, last thing on this. Last night, the House agreed to pass the new stimulus bill, 1.9 trillion. It still has to go to the Senate. It still needs to get approved. A couple things that were in this were the $1,400 stimulus payments, $1,400 for each dependent. Then there's also a very large child tax credit for $3,000 per child or $3,600 for a child under 6. So it kind of makes sense. I think they're trying to do this to, make up for maybe some of the payments, some of the difficulty of having children throughout this time. And some of the payments to maybe babysitters and other things like that, or tutors. Also, there are unemployment benefits that will be increased to $400 a week from the current $300 a week. And this will be extended through the end of August. So a lot of people that are still out of work will have some type of help with that. Now, let me know how you guys like this. Let me know if you like this kind of video, just running through all the news. A little bit different of a video for me. Kind of fun, though, because I think it's good to remember kind of what happened, to give us some clarity, to think about everything holistically and where we're going. I think that this stimulus probably is a good thing for us in the stock market, right? I think there's going to be a lot more money that's pumped in here. Think about all the people that are getting $1,400. A lot of people are still working, or a lot of people are still students that didn't really have a lot of money coming in anyways. They're still on unemployment. So a lot of people might have some money to throw at the market. So that might be good. Think about different stocks that people might buy. I really like the space sector right now. SFTW has been trading very cheaply. ChargePoint has been trading cheaper than it has been in 3 months. I've been picking up shares of both of them. I've also been picking up some warrants of RAAC. If you guys want to know exactly what I buy and sell, though, there is a link down there to Patreon. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for checking out BlockFi and WeBull and Patreon, and hitting the like button and subscribing and commenting and all that. And I will see you guys in the next video. I'll put up the video on Astra, the company that got the NASA contract, here on the end screen. Bye.